What is up, guys? Welcome to my trailer breakdown for Legends of Tomorrow Season 3 Episode 17, titled Guest Starring John Noble, which is the craziest title I've ever seen for any TV show ever, because this episode is guest starring John Noble, but not only that, it's guest starring John Noble as himself, because in the show, John Noble actually voices Mallus. He's voiced him since the beginning of Season 3, and now he's going to appear as the actor John Noble in this episode, so it's going to be a pretty meta episode. It's just a really crazy title, but we can't break down a trailer without watching the trailer, so let's watch the trailer.
The Bureau needs backup.
You are critical to this mission.
Barack Obama.
We're on Obamacare.
Clearly you have some grievances.
DC's Legends of Tomorrow, all new, this Monday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
So, something about this trailer that I've noticed a couple other trailers have done this too, is that for some reason, they choose to focus around the storyline that the episode is not named after. In this case, the trailer mainly focuses around Grodd and Obama for some reason, rather than what the episode is named after, which is John Noble, which is a crazy sentence. But I don't really know why the episode is named guest starring John Noble in the first place. Like, in the trailer, you see none of it. In the synopsis, you see none of it. And you only see this actual storyline in one singular promotional photo. So it doesn't look like it's going to be the main storyline. So it's weird that they named the episode after it. But that doesn't really matter. But the fact that Obama is in this episode may stir up some problems. Like, the episode will become a little bit too political. I bet we're going to see in the episode a bunch of characters saying, I voted for that guy, or, hey, it's Obama, I love him, we got to save him, or something like that. That may stir up some problems just because I do not want these shows to get political. Like, real-life politics on these shows just does not work. It makes them really pretentious and, like, annoying. Like, fake politics, that's fine. Like, on Arrow, they're doing that. He was the mayor in Season 5 and 6. That's fine, it's fake politics. But real politics, it does not work, because you know that the show leans to one side just because that's what they do. The actors, the writers, they're all on the left. So that just makes it a little annoying when they get political and it's all one-sided. It's just really annoying. I really don't like it when shows or movies get political. Real life politics, I mean. So Obama being in this episode may cause some problems. But the question is, why is Grodd going after Obama in the past? Or a better question than that is, why is Mallus commanding Grodd to go after Obama? And the answer to that is simple. It's just that Mallus wants to make the timeline more unstable. The weaker the timeline is, the weaker his cage becomes, or the more unstable the timeline is, the weaker his cage becomes. So his cage breaks at the end. The more unstable the time is, his cage breaks and he gets out. That's his plan here, and killing a public figure from the future, from the past, killing him in the past, that would change everything, because he was the president, presumably. We don't really know who the president was in this universe, because now we have one president who's not Trump. It's very probable that before that, Obama was not president, it was someone else, but it's also possible that he was. So just killing the president in the past would change a lot, just because the president is like the most famous person. Whenever somebody is president of America, he's the most famous person in the world. So that would change a lot. So Mallus is just trying to make the timeline more unstable. So you see in this shot, and also in another promotional photo, you see that Heatwave is using his heat gun again, and that makes me think two things. One, that kind of sucks, because seeing him use the fire totem was pretty awesome. And two, Mallus probably got the fire totem back, or for the first, he didn't really ever have it. I mean, Damien Dark had it, and it was broken, so he's getting it for the first time, a working, functional fire totem in this episode, because why else would Heatwave be using his gun over the fire totem, unless if it's like one of those things where he can't control it. But that's not the case, because we saw in the previous two episodes that he can control it just fine to an extent. It's not like he's burning the Wave Rider down. He's cooking stuff with it. So I definitely think he can control it. So there's no other reason in my mind why he would be using the gun over the totem, which makes me think that he loses it and Mallus gets the totem for the first time. So this shot right here, you see Grodd attempting to punch somebody, and just from the look of the area and that person's dress like as in what they're wearing, This seems like to be in Zambezi, which is where Vixen, or which are all the Vixens are from, and that stems from the end of the last episode, which I didn't mention in my review just because that video was very rushed, and the reason it was rushed because I thought it to go somewhere, but I didn't. So I didn't really need to rush it, but I did rush it, which is why it was shorter than usual. But I am mentioning it in this video, which Amaya went back to 1990 to stop Zambezi from being destroyed, which is what leads into this episode. And I don't know why Grodd is in this, and maybe I'm pretty sure in 1990, and I don't know why he's in Zambezi at all. But this is a side plot in this episode where Nate and Wally go to 1990 to stop Amaya from saving the village. You do see here, right here, an old version of Amaya herself, which the makeup could look better. I mean, it doesn't look that great. But I don't think Amaya is going to succeed just because of what the synopsis says, which I will read in a minute. It says that Nate and Wally go to stop her from saving the town, or the village. That's what it is, a village. And the reason that you see an old version of Amaya is because in 1990, she's going to be very old. So I definitely don't think that Amaya is going to succeed in stopping Zambezi from being destroyed, just because that would change the timeline. But a side plot here is where she goes back to 1990 to Zambezi in order to save it, but Wally and Nate stop her, and maybe Grodd does as well. I've mentioned the synopsis multiple times in this video, and I have yet to read it, which is what I'm going to do right now. And the synopsis reads, with the timeline barely stable, the Legends must tackle two anachronisms at the same time to try and keep Mallus at bay. Sarah and Rip team up to stop Grodd from going after a particular target, leaving Nate and Wally to stop Amaya from changing her future. Meanwhile, the Legends think they have found a way to destroy Mallus, but they will have to create an uneasy alliance with one of their enemies. So, first of all, it says that the timeline is barely stable. I don't think that's because Vixen or Amaya saved Zambezi. I just think that, in general, the timeline is not very stable for the whole season, and you saw it became even worse in the episode where Wally joined the team because there were like cracks in the fabric of time. Rip actually mentioned that, so I don't think it's connected to Amaya's storyline. I just think that the timeline is barely stable in general. So the synopsis says that the Legends tackle two different anachronisms, and one of those anachronisms is definitely John Noble, because like that's a part of the story, that's a part of the episode, that's a side plot, or maybe even the main plot of the episode. So that's definitely one of the anachronisms, because John Noble voices Mallus, like I said, so that might be some kind of anachronism. And the second anachronism, I don't actually know what that is. It might be something to do with Amaya and Zambezi. It might be something to do with Grodd and Barack Obama. I definitely think that's something to do with Obama. Maybe the anachronism is that Obama never becomes president, and that's because of Grodd, and that's the anachronism. But that's not really an anachronism. That's like directly because Grodd killed him, presumably. But maybe that's what anachronism is. Maybe all the anachronisms were specifically created by Mallus and Grodd and Damien Dark and all those people, because we've seen a pattern this year with the anachronisms. So maybe they were directly created, like all of them, by Mallus and Grodd and Damien Dark and Nora Dark and Kawase. That's a huge possibility. And then the synopsis continues saying that Sarah and Rip team up to stop Grodd from going after a particular target, being Obama, and then leaving Nate and Wally to stop Amaya from changing her future. The way it's phrased, it seems like that they're trying to make that storyline with Nate and Wally and Amaya the second anachronism, but I definitely don't think it is. Like I said, I definitely think the two anachronisms are that Barack Obama died in that era and never became president, and the second one is something to do with John Noble. And then the synopsis continues saying, meanwhile, the Legends think they found a way to destroy Mallus, but they will have to create an uneasy alliance with one of their enemies. This alliance being with Damien Dark. You see him turning in the last episode, and Mallus completely turned on him. Like Mallus threw him aside. You see that Damien Dark didn't want to go with Mallus anymore because he took over Nora, and his whole thing he did for her, apparently. But he's a bad guy, so sometimes his motivations really don't make any sense. Maybe he's a little crazy, because that doesn't really make any sense to me. But it definitely makes sense to him because he's a bad guy. So the uneasy alliance, you see him turning on Mallus, so the uneasy alliance is gonna be with him. Another question is, what is this thing that they come up with to defeat Mallus? Really, the only thing I can think of is that they gather all the totems, and they need Damien's help to do that. That's really it. anything else will be really, if they do anything else, it will be really creative and out of the box. But speaking of Mallus, something that I really hope happens in this episode is we finally see Mallus's true form. We only have 2 episodes left in the season, and I definitely think we're going to see his true form in the final episode, but I think it'll just be really cool if we see him for the first time in this episode, just because I would like to see him for more than one episode. Like, I would like to see his true form for more than one episode. I get why they haven't showed him yet, just because they're trying to save money and he's a big CGI creature, but I mean, it would be really cool to see him at least for 2 episodes, for the remaining 2 episodes, and I actually think we will. This shot right here, you have all these characters in the same spot. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the scene where Mallus he gets out of his cage and reveals his true form. I wouldn't bet on it, but I'm predicting that this scene is where we see Mallus for the first time. But anyway, let me know what you thought about the trailer and the synopsis and the promotional photos in the comments down below. Let me know if you're excited for this episode and what you are most excited about in this episode in the comments down below. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter or click the notification icon. The link to my Twitter account is in the description. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.